Paper 117. God the Supreme. To the extent that we do the will of God, in whatever universe station we may have our existence, in that measure the almighty potential of the Supreme becomes one step more actual. The will of God is the purpose of the first source and center, as it is potentialized in the three absolutes, personalized in the eternal Son, conjoined for universe action in the infinite Spirit, and eternalized in the everlasting patterns of paradise. And God the Supreme is becoming the highest finite manifestation of the total will of God. If all grand universes should ever relatively achieve the full living of the will of God, then would the time-space creations be settled in light and life, and then would the Almighty, the deity potential of supremacy, become factual in the emergence of the divine personality of God the Supreme. When an evolving mind becomes attuned to the circuits of cosmic mind, when an evolving universe becomes stabilized after the pattern of the central universe, when an advancing spirit contacts the united ministry of the master spirits, when an ascending mortal personality finally attunes to the divine leading of the indwelling adjuster, then has the actuality of the Supreme become real by one more degree in the universes, then has the divinity of supremacy advanced one more step toward cosmic realization. The parts and individuals of the grand universe evolve as a reflection of the total evolution of the Supreme, while in turn the Supreme is the synthetic cumulative total of all grand universe evolution. From the mortal viewpoint, both are evolutionary and experiential reciprocals. 1. Nature of the Supreme Being. The Supreme is the beauty of physical harmony, the truth of intellectual meaning, and the goodness of spiritual value. He is the sweetness of true success, and the joy of everlasting achievement. He is the oversoul of the grand universe, the consciousness of the finite cosmos, the completion of finite reality, and the personification of creator-creature experience. Throughout all future eternity, God the Supreme will voice the reality of volitional experience in the Trinity relationships of deity. In the persons of the supreme creators, the gods have descended from paradise to the domains of time and space, there to create and to evolve creatures with paradise attainment capacity, who can ascend thereto in quest of the Father. This universe procession of descending God-revealing creators and ascending God-seeking creatures is revelatory of the deity evolution of the Supreme, in whom both descenders and ascenders achieve mutuality of understanding, the discovery of eternal and universal brotherhood. The Supreme Being thus becomes the finite synthesis of the experience of the perfect creator cause and the perfecting creature response. The grand universe contains the possibility of, and ever seeks for, complete unification, and this grows out of the fact that this cosmic existence is a consequence of the creative acts and the power mandates of the Paradise Trinity, which is unqualified unity. This very Trinitarian unity is expressed in the finite cosmos in the Supreme, whose reality becomes increasingly apparent as the universes attain to the maximum level of Trinity identification. The will of the Creator and the will of the creature are qualitatively different, but they are also experientially akin, for creature and creator can collaborate in the achievement of universe perfection. Man can work in liaison with God and thereby co-create an eternal finaliter. God can work even as humanity in the incarnations of his sons, who thereby achieve the supremacy of creature experience. In the Supreme Being, Creator and creature are united in one deity whose will is expressive of one divine personality, and this will of the Supreme is something more than the will of either creature or creator, even as the sovereign will of the Master Son of Nebadon is now something more than a combination of the will of divinity and humanity. The union of paradise perfection and time-space experience yields a new meaning value on deity levels of reality. The evolving divine nature of the Supreme is becoming a faithful portrayal of the matchless experience of all creatures and of all creators in the grand universe. In the Supreme, creatorship and creaturehood are at one. They are forever united by that experience which was born of the vicissitudes attendant upon the solution of the manifold problems which beset all finite creation as it pursues the eternal path in quest of perfection and liberation from the fetters of incompleteness. Truth, beauty, and goodness are correlated in the ministry of the Spirit, the grandeur of paradise, the mercy of the Son, and the experience of the Supreme. God the Supreme is truth, beauty, and goodness, for these concepts of divinity represent finite maximums of ideational experience. The eternal sources of these triune qualities of divinity are on superfinite levels, but a creature could only conceive of such sources as supertruth, superbeauty, and supergoodness. Michael, a creator, revealed the divine love of the Creator Father for his terrestrial children, and having discovered and received this divine affection, men can aspire to reveal this love to their brethren in the flesh. Such creature affection is a true reflection of the love of the Supreme. The Supreme is symmetrically inclusive. The first source and center is potential in the three great absolutes, is actual in paradise, in the Son, and in the Spirit. But the Supreme is both actual and potential, a being of personal supremacy and of almighty power, responsive alike to creature effort and creator purpose, self-acting upon the universe and self-reactive to the sum total of the universe, and at one and the same time the Supreme Creator and the Supreme Creature. The deity of supremacy is thus expressive of the sum total of the entire finite. 2. The source of evolutionary growth. The Supreme is God in time. His is the secret of creature growth in time. His also is the conquest of the incomplete present and the consummation of the perfecting future. And the final fruits of all finite growth are power controlled through mind, by spirit, by virtue of the unifying and creative presence of personality. The culminating consequence of all this growth is the Supreme Being. To mortal man, existence is equivalent to growth, and so indeed it would seem to be, even in the larger universe sense, for spirit-led existence does seem to result in experiential growth, augmentation of status. We have long held, however, that the present growth which characterizes creature existence in the present universe age is a function of the Supreme. We equally hold that this kind of growth is peculiar to the age of the growth of the Supreme, and that it will terminate with the completion of the growth of the Supreme. Consider the status of the creature trinitized sons. They are born and live in the present universe age. They have personalities, together with mind and spirit endowments. They have experiences and the memory thereof, but they do not grow, as do ascenders. It is our belief and understanding that these creature trinitized sons, while they are in the present universe age, are really of the next universe age, the age which will follow the completion of the growth of the Supreme. Hence they are not in the Supreme as of his present status of incompleteness and consequent growth. Thus they are non-participating in the experiential growth of the present universe age, being held in reserve for the next universe age. My own order, the mighty messengers, being Trinity embraced, are non-participating in the growth of the present universe age. In a sense, we are in status as of the preceding universe age, as in fact are the stationary sons of the Trinity. One thing is certain, our status is fixed by the Trinity embrace, and experience no longer eventuates in growth. This is not true of the Finaliters, nor of any other of the evolutionary and experiential orders which are participants in the growth process of the Supreme. You mortals now living on Urantia, who may aspire to paradise attainment and Finaliter status, should understand that such a destiny is only realizable because you are in and of the Supreme, hence are participants in the cycle of the growth of the Supreme. There will come an end some time to the growth of the Supreme. His status will achieve completion in the energy